We got a review of the Outer Worlds 2. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's gonna do very well. Let's get it.
If Star Trek is the optimistic dream of what humanity could become, The Outer Worlds 2 is the nihilistic nightmare of what it probably will be. Thankfully, both make for highly entertaining material to explore, and this second run through Obsidian's corporate dystopia is a significant step up from the original. With a story that's more grounded and interesting, significantly more competent combat, and an irresistible RPG grind, I had a blast putting my fist through the Kafkaesque final frontier alongside a cast of memorable companions.
Thus concludes a thoroughly distasteful business.
Even when a weak first act and some truly terrible enemy variety made the going less exciting. Across the more than 65 hours my completionist playthrough took, I fought with myself over moral dilemmas,
65 hours?
giggled at absurd world building, and brought several would-be dictators to their knees. That's exactly what the for-profit space doctor ordered.
The Earth Directorate is here to fight for the rights of all colonists.
The Outer Worlds 2 is a good old-fashioned single-player open-world RPG in the same vein as Dragon Age, Fallout, and Avowed. As a follow-up to 2019's The Outer Worlds and a sorta kinda follow-up to 2010's Fallout New Vegas, Obsidian is at it again with a very similar blueprint here.
I couldn't compare this to New Vegas even remotely. New Vegas is like 10 notches up from The Outer Worlds. I'm sorry, dude. Like,
new dystopia to shoot your way through as you level up. Grab every piece of loot within reach, and solve all the galaxy's long-standing problems in no time at all. It's not the most novel concept, to be sure, but it's one I love that we simply don't get enough of, and it's pulled off better than the vast majority of recent attempts. This sequel returns to a wonderfully satirical alternate reality where unfettered capitalism has conquered the stars to turn majestic celestial bodies into tacky outdoor strip malls. Though it shares the same pessimistic vision for the future, it ditches the first game's halcyon system for a different part of the galaxy called Arcadia, with a fresh batch of planets for you to single-handedly decide the fate of. More prominent than the new planets to explore, though, is a distinct shift in tone. While there's still plenty of goofy jokes and ways to make your trek through corporate-owned space completely absurd, this sequel is much more interested in telling a grounded story, one that focuses squarely on the politics of Arcadia's various factions and repeatedly forces you to make judgment calls on which of these deeply flawed organizations is the lesser evil. That bet on more serious topics and the delicate balance
I bet he failed that constitution right there.
of warring political entities is one that pays off, and I found myself genuinely torn by who to side with, and even frustrated by my inability to appeal to the better angels of these selfish, power-hungry monsters, which is exactly what I look for in these kinds of make-your-mark-on-the-world games.
This war zone is not your playground.
When The Outer Worlds 2 is putting the political jockeying front and center, it's sick as hell, and without question has some of the coolest world building and satisfyingly perilous moral dilemmas I've seen in some time. But it takes its sweet time getting there, mostly focusing on this conflict in its second half. For the first half of the story, you'll instead prioritize a humdrum revenge quest I cared about so little that I actually forgot it was even the first act's main focus by the time I reached the credits. In fairness, they do use this early time to introduce you to the principal movers and shakers in Arcadia while you seek vengeance, which sets it up for a much stronger second act. But the first 20 hours or so felt like the main story was quite slow and unengaging. It does rally if you can hang in there for a bit, but I wish it was more consistent throughout.
Much appreciated, Commander. Promise, I won't be making a habit of pulling skeletons out of my closet.
One area that is much more consistent is the absolutely gripping RPG climb, which sunk its teeth into me from moment one with a near constant stream of interesting choices about who my character was and how in the heck he was going to be able to save the galaxy. With only 2 skill points earned per level to spend across 12 skills that make you good at everything from leadership to lockpicking, you've got some serious decisions.
See, what I really don't like about Obsidian games is they really cap you on your levels. So like Fallout 3, that was one of my biggest critiques with Fallout 3 is that the game is so fucking big. Why cap the player's level at 30? 30 levels isn't shit, bro. That's nothing. Like, I think I could get to level 30 in most of the games, and most of either the Obsidian or Fallout games, within the first, like, 10 hours of gameplay. And then like you've barely discovered even like a fraction of the map. Like the level cap system is garbo. Fallout 4, that's the reason why I kind of I kind of glaze that game quite a bit, because there is no level cap system and you can just keep leveling indefinitely, even once you get all the perks. That's the way it should be, in my opinion.
To make about what you want to excel in. This becomes even more stressful once you take a look at the enormous list.
If you have 100 perks, and each, like, let's say, like, each perk has, let's say there's 50 perks, and each perk has 2 points that you can put into it, then why not make the level 100? Well, why complicate something that doesn't need to be complicated? Like, it doesn't add to the enjoyment of the game, it takes away. Like, I don't want to over-level, I don't want to under-level, I just want to be able to get all the points in the skill trees. Why is this so hard?
Perks, which can only be unlocked if you sufficiently bought into the relevant prerequisite skills. That includes things like the ability to pickpocket others, which only becomes available to those who have leveled up Sneak, or another perk that allows you to sell increasingly unbelievable lies as you improve your speech skill. You're only allowed to buy 15 of these bad boys before you hit the level cap of 30, so planning out your ideal spacefaring...
That's what I was just saying, so the level cap is 30. That's garbage. I don't even think there was a way to respec in Fallout, funny enough. Like, once you kind of picked a perk, you're kind of stuck with
badass, and making sure you've got the skills you need to get the job done becomes very compelling. And I found myself hungrily looking for enemies to kill and side quests to complete to feed my XP habit. But the best part of this power climb is how it manifests in unexpected ways in the form of flaws. The OuterWorlds 2 tracks the things your character does in search of certain trends, then provides opportunities for you to lean into those quirks by offering benefits that come at a cost. For example, if you tend to steal a lot, you might be offered the kleptomaniac flaw, which allows you to sell all your stolen goods for more money, but also makes your character steal things automatically from time to time, which can get you in quite a bit of trouble with the locals. Alternatively, if you skip through a lot of dialogue, you'll be offered the foot and mouth syndrome flaw, which gives you bonus XP, but forces you to choose all your dialogue options under a very short time limit before choosing an option for you randomly. Each of these has pretty massive implications on how you play and are irreversible.
See, I don't like that. I don't like that if I skip dialogue, it gives me a negative effect that automatically, that forces me to choose my decisions faster. That's stupid. How does that add to the enjoyment of the game? How? I mean, you get XP for it, but like, what if you don't want that? That's kind of garbo, dude. What?
Which can lead to all sorts of hilarious mistakes. Even when these choices went on to haunt me for the rest of my playthrough, I couldn't help but love them. And if anything, it made me excited for subsequent playthroughs where I could learn from the error of my ways and perhaps stumble across some new flaws to saddle myself with. Like its predecessor, you spend most of your time exploring the wild frontiers of untamed planets while staring down the barrel of a rifle and/or stabbing jugulars. And this is an area of significant improvement since the last time we were let loose in the setting. While the first Outer Worlds was mostly passable when it came to combat, this sequel manages to level up to generally enjoyable, with snappier gunplay, improved mobility that has you sliding and double jumping around, and most importantly, an arsenal of weapons that feels...
I hope when they remake Fallout 3, I hope it's a full remake. I want like new like movement. I want to be able to like run and slide, you know? That's what I want in Fallout 3. Fallout 3 is an absolutely freaking massive game. And I look forward to replaying it as a remake.
Much better suited for the gloriously goofy sci-fi setting. I found so many weird and unexpected weapons with unique effects, like a stealthy shotgun that fires shots completely silently and instantly melts its target so bodies can't be found. And another weapon that started out weak, but leveled up as I scored kills until it was an absolute beast, which also made me want to rewatch Solo Leveling. Not only that, but there are a ton of ways to customize your weapons and armor with loads of mods you can buy and craft. Those do things like reduce your damage output overall to gain explosive rounds, or better protect yourself against a certain elemental effect, and this is without me going into some of the truly bonkers and unique options that I won't spoil here. They really do a lot more to make your rewards for exploring and completing quests more interesting, and befitting of the silly world around you, which makes all the difference in the world. The biggest letdown with combat is definitely the enemy variety, which usually features 2 or 3 types of wild animal on each world that you see way too much of for several hours at a time, alongside your standard humanoid enemies and a few robotic foes here and there. You'll encounter a whole hell of a lot of Raptidon creatures from the original, for example, and I found myself extremely sick of seeing them before I'd even left the first planet, much less by the time I entered the final stretch and was still running into them.
I feel like that was a problem with the first game as well. I don't think there was very much enemy variety.
It's pretty disappointing that in a galaxy filled with so much promise, there's practically no surprises in terms of the adversaries you face. Speaking of running around, the OuterWorlds 2 has 4 main destinations, each with their own particular vibe.
That's
usually
it?
dictated by whichever
4 destinations?
faction has controlling interest, from the monk-like temples hidden in the snow on Cloister to the busy backwaters in the jungles of Eden. Exploring each is a lot of fun as you kill stuff, learn about the world, recruit new members to your party, and feverishly check off every quest on the map. I felt like I was always finding someone interesting to talk to, or some loot just out of reach for me to puzzle through. All of that usually—
See, like, I don't like being capped at level 30, because if I get capped at level 30, what's the point of doing the side quests? You know, like, what's the point? That's kind of my view of it. Is I don't want to be capped at level 30, because for me it's a deterrence from doing the side stuff. Like why bother? Unless it gives you like an option for 2 different perks at the end you can choose between, or a gun or something. Like, for the most part, you're really not going to be doing it.
Made for a good time, apart from the previously mentioned enemy repetition. Plus, the OuterWorlds 2 follows in the footsteps of Avowed with enemies that never respawn, meaning each map eventually empties out as a result of you killing them, which does make for a very feast and famine situation. Though a great fast travel system at least limits how noticeable that becomes this time. Just like real life, a story-focused RPG is—
You know what that means? That means that it has no New Game Plus replayability. So that's kind of garbo. It's one of those games that you play through one time and then you have to make a new character.
only as good as the companions who follow you.
Fallout 3 had that. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I want to be able to start a new game with the character that I have. That's what I want. Especially if I put all that time and effort into it. Like, for example, Fallout 4 did a really good job at allowing enemies to respawn. Like, if you leave an area for a certain amount of time, enemies should respawn. It adds replayability to your game. There is no negative to that. It just does.
Around, judging your every decision. And this is one area where the OuterWorlds 2 most improves upon its predecessor. The 6 mostly memorable characters you befriend and travel alongside each stand as a representative of the respective organization from which they hail. For example, Tristan, a heavily armored brute, serves as the group's cop, eager to carry out his authoritarian government's twisted form of justice on pretty much everyone you meet.
During our investigation, I gauged your trustworthiness and did not find it wanting.
While Inez, an entrepreneurial combat medic, is constantly reminding you of the virtues of the so-called free market enterprises she grew up with.
I put 2 and 2
Bro,
together.
I hate it whenever I pickpocket somebody, and then I get like 5, Starfield. Starfield is a good example of this. You could like steal something, and then you would get like 7 notifications of all the people that you've got on your ship saying how they don't like it, how they like it. It's like, bro, you on the ship. How do you even know I stole something? You're not even here. How do you even know? What? Come on. Shit's so goddamn irritating. Fallout 3 got that right, because the only way you would lose karma, well, you lose karma naturally, but if you only had a companion say something negative about it, depending on how good they are. Like, Fox is a good example. Fox was a super mutant that is super mega good. And the only way you can get him is if you have, like, ultra good karma. And so you can't steal. I hated it. I hated it.
Well, that was a bad morning.
Like Mass Effect and Fallout before it, this tactic of making your party members serve as mouthpieces for each of the world's factions is incredibly effective. It both immediately makes each companion's worldview crystal clear and also helps you understand the powers at play and the philosophical disagreements that become pretty important for you to know as you start making decisions that massively alter the balance of power.
You can't possibly be party to all this. Not with her vast misdeeds so readily apparent.
The OuterWorlds 2 doesn't try to rewrite Obsidian's
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say like a 8. I'm gonna say an 8. Maybe a 7. If it's a 7, it's a bad game. And you know why? Because they were paid to give it a 7. That's why.
RPG playbook, but it's yet another strong refinement.
I'm gonna say they're gonna give it an 8.
Diabolically compelling build crafting and loot, and a story that immediately made me want to start again to see an alternate outcome. The sluggish first act and lack of enemy variety make it a bit of a slog at certain times, but once its story of political intrigue kicks in and the new flaws and perk system gets its claws in you, it can be quite hard to put down. All these improvements put the OuterWorlds 2 that much closer to being the Fallout New Vegas successor we hoped the series would be, and that's worth getting excited about.
Yo, I was right. It'll be an okay game to play. I'll say that. It looks like it'd be an okay game.